What's up, everybody? It's Casey here again. I just wanted to provide an updated video of my 2019 Ram 1500 Lonestar edition. If you looked at my previous video from back in October, I believe, I pretty much had just gotten the truck, and if you notice, I got some new painted to match fender flares on there, and they turned out really well, so I just wanted to show you all what they looked like. And along with the fender flares that are painted to match the truck, I also got 1.5-inch wheel spacers, because when I had the fender flares on there, even though the wheels and tires stuck out from the truck before the fender flares, they didn't stick out past the fender flares. So after the fender flares were installed, the wheels and tires were sitting inside the wheel wells basically, and I didn't really like how that looked. So went ahead, ordered some 1.5-inch wheel spacers, and I've had these on for a couple months now, the flares and the wheel spacers, but I'm just getting around to making a video on it. So I haven't seen too many trucks with the flares and the wheel spacers, so I just wanted to show you what that turned out to look like. It made it look super wide. Almost like TRX style, I would say. I've seen a few TRXs around here, and we're about the same height, same width, now that I got the wheel spacers and the fender flares on there. Not that I'm trying to imitate a TRX, but just something to give you some reference. But for those of you who do not know, this truck is a 2019 Lonestar edition. It's got the V8 Hemi with the e-torque motor. It's got a Borla exhaust. It's got the amp research power side steps. It's got 22-inch fuel wheels, 22 by 12, and 35-inch Nitto Ridge Grapplers. It's also got a BackFlip MX4 bed cover, which I absolutely love. It's got the LED lights all the way around. It's got a panoramic sunroof. It's pretty much as loaded as you can get for the Lonestar / Bighorn edition truck. It doesn't have the leather interior, but that's all right. It's got the tow hooks in the front. Just a really mean, wide looking truck now. As you can see, the tires stick out from the front fender. They were pretty much right in line with it previously, or before the wheel spacers. So yeah, I just thought it turned out really cool. Looks really mean. Truck gets lots of looks, lots of compliments. But yeah, it's also got a 6-inch Pro Comp lift on there. Not sure if I said that already or not. Windows tinted 20%. Everything's painted to match. So yeah, it's just a really cool, really badass looking truck now. It's pretty much done from what I'm gonna do to it. I think the stance is perfect. I think it's just, you know, a perfect looking truck right now. I don't think there's anything else I need to do to it. I've been super happy with this truck. Had it, you know, since October of 2020, and yeah, man, couldn't be happier with it. It's a beast. Still drives great. Probably one of the best riding vehicles I've ever owned. But yeah, I'll put a link to the wheel spacers in the description if you want to check those out. 1.5-inch wheel spacers. I already had some pretty good offset on the wheels, so mine are pretty aggressive right now. But I haven't had any issues with the wheel spacers. I had to trim the studs that the wheels actually go on to make the wheel spacers sit flush on the hub, so that's something to note. You have to grind those down to make that fit. But that was the only issue. Haven't had any looseness, any wobbles. Just put some Loctite on there and tighten them down real good, and yeah, No issues so far, knock on wood. But yeah, I had the fender flares painted professionally, and I installed them myself. It took me a good 4 or 5 hours to get them on there. I don't do this, you know, professionally or anything like that, so it took quite a good amount of time to get these on. But each one of these rivets is all individual. You have to put them on individually, which is pretty time consuming, especially when you're dealing with 4 fenders. And then obviously they just bolt up, you know, underneath here, and then you have to put this strip along the fender, so that's pretty time consuming. You got to cut it, got to measure it, cut it, put it on there. My only little complaint is this bend here. There was nothing I could do to make the rubber sit flush, so it's kind of a little janky there, but that's about the only issue. But yeah, they're perfectly painted to match. The guy that did it for me did a really good job. Super happy with them. And oh yeah, also what else did we do? We put a little swing gate in here. This thing has been super handy. Just pop it out like this, open it up, and bam, you got extra storage. You can put whatever you need to in there, and it just shuts in there like that, and you're good to go. That's pretty handy. So yeah, if you're looking to get some fender flares, these are the ones that I would go with. Just make sure your tires don't sit inside, unless you just really don't like mud on the side of your truck. Like I got a little bit of mud on the side of my truck because obviously I made my wheels and tires stick out further. You know, they were sitting inside the fender there. But if you want a good looking truck, in my opinion, then you want to at least sit flush with your fender. I saw a truck earlier today, it was identical to mine, had the big, you know, fender flares on there like mine does, but he had pretty small wheels and tires, and they just sat inside the fender well, and it just doesn't look good. But that's just me, to each their own. So yep, that is the update on the Ram. Hopefully this was helpful to y'all if you're looking to get yourself a set of fender flares or change up the look of your truck. I think some wheel spacers, some aggressive wheels and tires, and some painted to match fender flares, that's key. If you don't paint them, they just look cheap, especially on these nice looking new trucks. You know, flat black or whatever, it's just not going to look good. It's going to look cheap, it's going to look plasticky. So make sure you actually get them painted, because it just doesn't look right. But yep, there she is. If you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer them below. And other than that, that is all I got for you right now. Thanks for watching.